Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for October 23rd. So today, I want to take a look at outcomes, see if we can kind of figure out what some of the outcomes might be given kind of what's going on in the legal world of Trump. Before I do that, thank you and welcome to all of my new subscribers. I'm absolutely delighted you're here. I am humbled, and I hope you enjoyed the Soulprint experience. To my established subscribers, I just adore you. Thank you so much for hanging in there. All of the lovely comments, a thumbs up, every bit of it is appreciated, and I'm very, very grateful. For those of you who might be interested in a private reading, the information is in the drop box below. I have been told, and you often will see it in the comment section, people very, very much like my readings. They tell me I'm very, very good. I seem to be very accurate with them. And I'm also been told several times that my prices are very, very reasonable considering some of the other prices out there. So there's that. All right, I have my pendulum. So let's start asking some questions, shall we? For those new subscribers who maybe haven't seen me with this pendulum before, I'm just going to quickly explain. So this pendulum, as you can see, is really, really short. It's made up of rose gold and citrine. It was handcrafted. Um, the length between the crystal sort of on the top is very, very short, as you can see. Because of that, you will often see a slight movement or vibration in my hand simply because the energy is very compressed in a tight area or a small area. Um, so three things to note. Well, four actually. So if the pendulum goes side to side, it's telling me it's ready to talk. If the pendulum wants to say yes, show me yes. It goes back and forth. And show me no pendulum. It goes round and round. And if there just simply is not an answer, or frankly, it is none of my business, the pendulum stops or has virtually no movement. Okay, so couple things. Let's get started. So I read an article this morning um, that apparently, I'm sure a bunch of you saw the picture yesterday that was published of Trump's lawyers um, leaving a DC courthouse, and everybody would just, oh boy, what's that all about? Well, apparently, what it's all about is there is um, something going on, some legal wrangling going on with Trump's lawyers. I guess Trump. They're trying to block or prevent how much um, information his lawyers can give to the grand jury that is investigating the January 6th thing, insurrection. So there's a lot of wrangling going on. Apparently, this whole thing is under seal. But when that very New Yorky, vibrant lawyer, I think his name is Hirschman, Eric, very brassy. You would have seen him on the hearings. Apparently, he took kind of some real exception to the sort of vague letter that got sent out by Trump's current lawyer saying, oh, well, you need to, you can't talk about this and you can't talk about that. But apparently, they're not explicit. They're sort of, you know. And I guess he really pushed and said, well, what is it exactly you're saying? And so there's a tussle going on there about just trying to block grand jury testimony from Trump's lawyers. I guess he wants to claim, um, client privilege or executive privilege or whatever that is. So that's a curious thing. But don't forget, some of his White House counsel has already testified. I guess whether they're testifying in front of the grand jury, that I'm not sure. So that's going to be interesting to watch. So let's just get started, shall we? I want to look first of all at the Department of Justice and the the documents, the bad storage of them, like hoarding them, keeping them, not returning, etc. So let's take a look at that. So my first question, Pendulum, is, are we actually going to see indictments against Donald Trump as a result of his handling and refusal to turn over the documents that belong to the National Archives? Are we going to see actual indictments? Yes. Pendulum, are we going to find or receive, is he going to receive a guilty verdict on one or more of those indictments? And that's a yes. Third question. In terms of the, particularly the top secret classified documents that he had at Mar-a-Lago, is, and this is the thing that we're actually never probably going to really know, but let's ask, has he shared some or any of that information with people just who he should not have? That's a really big yes, folks. Will there be harm to the United States or its agents as a result of those disclosures? Okay, it's gone still. Okay, so apparently we're not supposed to know that. Okay, so let's take a look at the cards and see what they have to say. For those of you who took part in the Shine Your Light energy circle that was released yesterday morning, it's awesome. The numbers are really good for views on that. And don't forget, you can do that meditation whenever you want and as often as you want, because as I explained, like energy attracts like energy. Okay, so your energy is going to join together with others who set and send those same light-filled intentions. I'm going to release a series of these videos as we get closer and closer to the election. All right, let's take a look at the Department of Justice. And I don't even know if that's actually accurate. I don't know if it's the Department of Justice or the National Archives, whoever it is that's currently got a lawsuit going on with Donald Trump pertaining to him refusing to hand over documents. Things are not going well for him in court. Judge Deary does not seem to be putting up with any crap from anybody. Yesterday he sent out a pronouncement saying, listen up, Trump's defense attorneys. Do you actually believe that the FBI planted evidence? Do you actually believe that, what's going on is not truthful? Well, if so, I think you need to supply me with proof. Please tell me what documents you believe were planted. Listen, they can't do that. There's no way in heck, because they didn't. There weren't documents planted. Don't be surprised at all to hear some sort of wonky comeback like, well, we can't really tell you what was planted because we don't really know everything that was taken. It's going to be something like that. But Judge Drury does not look, or Deary, I keep calling him Drury. It's not bad. That's bad. Judge Deary doesn't look like he's going to put up with a lot of crap from them. And so that's a really good thing. The other thing that was really curious is when the 11th Circuit Appeals Court sort of slapped back harshly on Judge Cannon's rulings, she didn't wait. And she immediately amended the order that she had issued, stopping everything and no one can look at anything. She did that really, really quickly. Like normally, from what I've heard, is that the judges will wait to just make sure that the defense counsel does not want to appeal it. But apparently she didn't wait at all. I guess maybe the pressure got to her, because she amended that order right quick. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to frame it as Department of Justice versus Trump results. Department of Justice versus Trump results. Department of Justice versus Trump results. Let's see. The Devil, followed by the Tower, followed by the Six of Swords. So this is kind of the thing. This looks really, really, really bad. So you have, the Devil and the Tower side by side is not good. The Devil is about literally living things backwards, living your life backwards, doing things backwards that are against and away from the light. And so, that he's had a lifetime of that behavior. And the Tower clearly indicates that that behavior is finally going to stop. It's going to come crushing down. That, literally things are going to come down on his head, basically. He's going to spend as much time as he can trying to steer himself out of trouble. But honestly, I really don't think he's going to be able to. This is a very, very heavy burden for his lawyers. Um, because there's no defense. Like, there's truly no defense. And if he, his lawyers can't get him to shut up. I mean, if he wants to keep going on Hannity and admitting he did all this stuff and saying, I declassified everything. And, the other statement was about the New York case that he made was, listen, there's a disclaimer on the front of those things that say you don't have to believe these figures. That's just sort of not good enough. So he gets out there and yaps and yaps and yaps. And for whatever reason, his lawyers haven't been able to successfully get him to shush. And so, prosecutions just keep making notes and saving film clips, I guess. Now, even though it is a heavy burden for the Department of Justice, and make no mistake, they are being incredibly fair and balanced about this, and they are being very, very careful. Because don't forget, if you bring criminal charges, it's not on a preponderance of the evidence, which is what happens in a civil case. It is beyond reasonable doubt. It's a very high standard to meet. And so they need to be incredibly thorough and careful. And the thing is sort of taking the documents, I think probably they say that that's a charge that almost never is levied. But when you have these mitigating factors like obstruction, that's apparently when things get a little bit more testy. And it's not that there isn't ample proof, but it's that, or what we as civilians perceive as ample proof. But the law has, sort of a different version or attitude about that. And so we all have to learn to be a little bit patient and trust that this is going to unfold exactly as it needs to unfold. I know there are people out there who are just going, enough is enough. I can't stand this. I can't listen to his voice. I don't want to hear anymore. I get that. I really do. But rushing and losing that slippery little guy, no one wants to see that happen. So listen up. I don't like him either, okay? But he has mastered this. He's mastered it. Very good at it. He knows how to delay. He knows how to make things work in his favor, whether we like or appreciate it or not. Let's look at Georgia, shall we? Bonnie Wills. Yeah, I wouldn't go after her. I mean, she looks like she knows what she's doing and she's not getting at all distracted by it. Okay, Georgia. So we're pretty much sure that Trump is a person of interest in this. Is that accurate? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is Lindsey Graham also likely, if it not now, likely to be or is a person of interest also in this investigation? Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. Are there going to be indictments handed down against Trump? Yes. And is there likely to be a guilty verdict reached in that case? Yes. Smaller, yes, but yes. Um, are those indictments going to come down like right at the end of this year or early into January? That's a yes. So let's cross check it by asking this. Are those indictments likely to come down in the next few weeks prior to the midterm election? No, as we all suspected. Okay, so let's take a look at the Georgia. I think it's Fulton County versus Trump, but I'm just going to broadly ask about Georgia versus Trump because okay. Um, Georgia versus Trump election interference. Georgia versus Trump election interference. Georgia versus Trump election interference. Okay. So it very much looks like Georgia's going to prevail in this. They have the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups coming forward, and they also have the Three of Cups coming forward. So there's definitely a sense of accomplishment, a sense of celebration. For Trump, he's got the Three of Hearts. I wonder, which three lawsuits are really going to puncture or stab his heart, honestly. But his behavior about stealing this and stealing that is really, really not going to work in his favor. Um, and Bonnie Wills is just not looking at what he has done, but she's also looking at kind of how to sort of prevent this again. Okay, so she's got a lot on her plate. She's going back over sort of previous behavior like this. She's looking at case law, whatever it is they do. But honestly, it looks like she is also going to, be able to be very successful at this. But it is going to take a few more months. Okay. And let's take a look at New York and those recent um, indictments, charges against Trump and the Trump kids. So let's go there. I heard Michael Cohen say something really interesting. I think it was on Chris Hayes yesterday. And he said people are getting it wrong. She didn't ask, she said apparently that $250 million to $250 million in damages. Um, Apparently, that is the baseline she is asking for. That is the minimum damage that she is asking for. And it could go much, much higher than that. And let's face it, I mean, Trump says that stupid, kind of gaudy condo of his in Trump Tower is all 30,000 square feet of it, is worth what was it, 337,000 or 337 million? It's something just outrageous. You could just sell that overpriced palace of gold. Of course, he can't because it's only worth 75, and it's only slightly less than 11,000 square feet. But what the heck? Okay. Also, apparently, and I read this, and honest to God, I can't remember where I read it, and so I can't quote it. But that Jeannie Carroll, that woman who has been suing Trump for defamation, apparently she has filed a new lawsuit against him, and it's sexual something, I think sexual battery or sexual assault. But there is another lawsuit that apparently she has just filed. That's going to be fascinating because he should not have gone after her, because it strikes me that she is not going to put up with his crap, even though it may take a really long time. Hell, she's got nothing but time on her hands. So yeah, that's coming down the pike too. All right, let's look at uh, the New York Attorney General, Letitia James, and her investigation, ultimately charges against Donald Trump and the Trump family. Is she going to be successful in winning that case? Yes. Um, is Donald Trump going to have to pay significant damages? Of the three adults, not adult children, adults who are filed in this lawsuit with him, who happen to be Trump's, um, of the three, is Eric going to be the one who is at most legal jeopardy? Oh my, that's a really, really big yes. So again, don't forget it was Eric and Trump who um, invoked the Fifth Amendment 400 and 500 times. Okay. Um, Ivanka and Don Jr., are they also going to face significant penalties and restrictions? That's a yes. One of the things she's asking for is that Donald Trump never, ever, or his family never, ever, ever, ever be allowed to practice business in the state of New York. Is that going to be granted? And that's a big yes, too. Okay. And just because I'm kind of curious, is there any investigations going on that we don't know about with regard to Jared Kushner and the billion-dollar money management firm he opened up and runs with Saudi money? Is there actually any sort of a quiet investigation going on about that? Ooh, that's also a pretty big yes. I guess we'll have to watch this space. Okay, let's take a look at New York. Okay, so New York versus Trump court family. New York versus Trump court family. New York versus Trump court family. Ron Weisselberg's in there and somebody else's, but okay. She's going after them. And this isn't vengeance on her part. This isn't she's out to get him. This is about, she actually just really has an aversion, like a real gut level, almost visceral reaction to people who like blatantly um cheat like that. And she doesn't like it. And she's going after them with everything she has. She speaks well. She presents herself well, and the stories and the evidence that she is going to produce is going to be very, very clear, concise, as was that indictment for anybody who actually read the 280 pages of it. And boy, oh boy, is it ever going to impact Trump and his money. He's going to do everything he can to hang on to what he has, which, I mean, I get it. Um, there's going to be more sort of like dark money that comes into play, or money coming from, questionable sources. Because apparently he's gotten a loan, like a big loan, from, they call it a third rate lender. So I don't know who or what that is, but so, which allowed him to pay off some of the other loans that were likely to get called. So I guess the idea is if this third rate lender, um, if the third rate vendor was able to give him money, maybe Trump feels that then they won't call the loan as this continues to unfold. Because, literally what they're showing me is just like people, there's like ledger books, right? And people are like slamming the cover down on, and it's like a row of them I'm seeing, right? Where ledger books are just being closed. So it looks like there's going to be a lot coming at him. He's really, really feeling trapped. And frankly, she has wrapped him up in a velvet cord. Okay. So I don't see how he either has a whole lot of leverage here. So honestly, you know what? It's going to take a while. And like they're saying, like this New York one, this apparently could take years to unfold. This is not going to be a one and done, and by July we're all celebrating. That's not like it. Apparently, she also filed a suit against the National Rifle Association for whatever, and it is 3 years later, and it is still wrangling its way through the court. So the court case itself hasn't even started yet, and so you can bet that Trump and his lawyers are going to do whatever they can to delay this. Of course, that's going to take money, and so it's going to be interesting to see exactly how much money Trump ultimately has to play with as things go from bad to worse with him. Okay, so that's what we know today. Thank you so very, very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget tomorrow morning on Saturday, the weekly Pick Your Crystals readings come out. Sorry, excuse me. So, take a gander at those if you haven't done so. And enjoy the weekend. Okay, next week on Wednesday is the hearings. I think they start at 10 Eastern or 12 Eastern, I'm not sure. But that's on Wednesday, so there's going to be big goings on there. And that's what I know for now. So have a great weekend, enjoy it, and take good care. Be well. We'll see you really soon. Bye-bye. Hold on here.